What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo. Tonight, we're talking Invincible Episode 5. This was supposed to be easy. But before we get into all of that, Dave, how's it going, sir?
Well, I gotta tell you, Keith, I am fan-freaking-tastic. Well, we'll get into the show in a minute, but, life is lifing right now. Things are going up and down.
Left and right, and twirling, always twirling.
Yes, it's never all good, never all bad. How are you doing?
Well, Dave, I am tremendous.
Tremendous.
Busy day. My son had a birthday party. We had the in-laws over for dinner. A lot of stuff going on everywhere, but it's always good to Sunday night at 8:30 talking with some fellow nerds. And those of you wondering where Doug is actually hammering out a new trilogy deal at Lucasfilm. And he'll probably be on shortly. He'll be joining us in a few moments. We're going to be talking Invincible. Just anything else we want to talk about because, that's the kind of guys we are. But we're going to kick off with Invincible. Are you ready, Dave?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Well, the episode starts out and, Mark and Eve are deciding to get an apartment. This was a great episode of One Tree Hill. We got...
Right.
She does decide to offer Invincible services to the local supervillain prison so they can kind of make money, which... Okay.
I was thinking, is that the only reason they did they did this show? They're showing how they're evolving as people. I get it. With that, taking money for being a hero. I get it. But, I don't know. We'll get into it in a minute, but do they have to spend so much time on it? Go ahead and advance the episode so I don't jump ahead.
Then Mark's mom is like, hey, Oliver snuck out. Can you guys go find him? And they end up finding him, and he's just playing skateboarding with some other kids, trying to have a good time, using his powers. And they're like, you can't use your powers. I thought that was great. He, ollies over him, and then they're like, you can't use your powers. And he's like, okay. And he kind of falls flat on his face. But then some bullies show up, and Oliver, whether he's learned or not, we don't know yet, but... instead of just killing all three of them, he just pulls their pants down at super speed, and they, hurry off. And Mark and Eve kind of go home, and he's fine. He's just making friends, and his mom has an epiphany. I have to let him be a child, and okay, sure.
I thought that was a good scene.
No, I did too. They got to show the kid growing up. I just. Not enamored with this episode.
No, not at all either. I'm sorry to jump ahead as far as me, whether I like it or not. This episode was kind of a snore fest to me, and literally a snore fest. I started it 3 different times. Each time I fell asleep until today when I finally finished it. And, I thought that was a good scene. But that's all they needed from him, and that's all they had to do. But there just seemed to be, as we're so good at doing ourselves, tangenting into meaningless stories. You've got so many storylines going on this show. You got, Angstrom. You got several other ones that started last season, and they're tangenting off like they did last week with the Immortal in the 200 years in the future. That was so unnecessary. Why? What's it going to do? Are we going to work our way 200 years into the future at some point and realize, oh, that was right, that was pretty cool? I don't think it was necessary. This episode, it's character building, but at the same time, okay, we get it. We get what you're doing, and it's just a little bit too much time on the wrong things. Paul Rudd said in Ant-Man, those are the wrong details, and that's what we're getting here, I think.
No, I don't disagree. We did get the Titan getting pressured by Mr. Liu to kind of free Multi-Paul. I know Doug's favorite character, Multi-Paul. He loves the name. And, he ends up coming up with this, plan where he's not going to do it. So, Mr. Liu sends his dragon to the prison to free him. And they all think Titan is dead. And Isotope frees Machine Head, and he comes back and kills Mr. Liu. And then Machine Head takes over the order, and he grants Titan autonomy in the city and all that. And we find out Lou survives at the end, and we did get a fight between Invincible, Eve, and Mr. Liu at the prison, and Eve kind of putting the prisoners back in. And of course, she misses one of Multi-Paul's copies. Well, she misses the original. She imprisoned a copy, so it just all seemed extremely predictable. Like, I was watching this episode and I'm just like, everything just fell into place exactly how I thought it would. And this show usually doesn't do that. Like, I think we all remember that first episode where it's like, oh, okay, this is a superhero show. It's good, so far. Some interesting. Then all of a sudden, Omni Man killed the Guardians of the Globe. And it was like, I did not see any of that coming. It's like this episode, I saw all of it coming, and I was like, I don't want to say bored, because I think bored is a little too harsh of a word. But I wasn't entertained.
Right. For lack of a better word, bored.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know if they are, actually, because I think of other Robert Kirkman shows, and all I can think of is The Walking Dead. And he did a pretty good job of running this kind of show where you could branch off and go follow one character for an entire episode, and it made sense because later, like 2 weeks later, that episode played into what was going to happen. And now when they do that with this show, because I thought because he did that with other shows, he could do that with this show and it would be effective. The stuff he has been doing, I don't know if it's just him running the show, or if the other two writers are running the show as well, that it's not working here. They're going way too far off on a tangent that it just like, all right, he's got to have other experiences, but we don't need to see him. I mean, they've got so many plot points already going on that they don't need filler episodes. And that's what I feel like. We got a filler and a half for the last 2 weeks.
And I think I enjoyed last week's a little bit more, only because it was very Days of Future Past to me. Like, oh, we got to go into the future, and Mr. Immortal is going crazy and all this stuff. It seemed last week's, at least I was like, oh, and he's like, I did all this so you would come and kill me, and I was like, okay, that's pretty interesting. It's fine. And then we get this, episode with the Order and more of Titan. And we've gotten a little bit of the Order this season, but is it going anywhere? Like, is this going to be the main thing for the rest of? We got 3 episodes left this season,
right?
And I don't think the Order is going to be a big part of it. If they were, you would think this would have stretched out over a little bit more time. I mean, we got like a quick transition of the Order from Mr. Liu, and maybe because he's alive, he's going to come back and wreak havoc or take over the Order or cause problems. But it just doesn't seem like this is. It seems like they're just filling in spaces till we get that crazy mustache guy, Viltrumite, getting to Earth, who Nyssa foreshadowed last season. It's like they don't know what to do, and just we got to wait till episode 7 to bring him in. So we'll do our Days of Future Past, and then we'll do this Prison Break episode, and what are they going to do next week? They'll have an episode of Battlestar Galactica. It'll be some sci-fi thing or something. Who knows? But it just doesn't seem to have any forward momentum. I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah, like they don't, even the little that they've sprinkled in with Ingstrom, for instance, he's only been on 2 scenes this whole season, and that started in season 1. I thought it would advance a little quicker, but now it's just like, if you don't watch it, you're gonna miss that he's even there, and so can they wrangle all these tangent episodes, I'll call them, into something that makes sense by the end because Ingstrom is gonna make it make sense. That would be amazing, but I don't trust them at this point. I just think they're like you said, is moving sideways. It's not moving forward. I'd
No,
love to hear
you're
Doug's
right. It would be
perspective.
great if we, the teen team and the Guardians of the Globe with Cecil and Angstrom and all that stuff's going on, and Omni Man and Alan the Alien escaping, and for the Coalition of Planets, and all these things going on. If they came into some amazing thing, yeah, perfect. The Order somehow plays into it, that'd be fine. But I'm with you. I don't see that happening. I feel like we're going to get in these last 3 episodes something rushed for a season finale type thing, and they're building towards Invincible War, and they're going to get that at some point. But I don't know. They just seem to lack focus and direction right now, and it's still,
Yeah.
Still a fine episode, but probably the weakest Invincible episode we've gotten in 3 seasons.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I was like, I saw so much promise when this season started. I thought the first 2 or 3, was it 3 episodes they put out all at once, or the first?
Yeah,
two?
it was the first 3. Yep.
First 3, I was like, wow, this is going to be a good season. And then since then, it's been like, okay, what are you doing? Maybe that's why they put out the first 3 to get y'all pumped, and knowing that they had a couple of real, parts afterwards.
Yeah. Because the first 3 were good. I liked 4. With Mr. Immortal, it was fine. But then back to backing it with another type filler episode just kind of left me lacking. I really hope this week's is a banger. I hope we get something that is just out of very Invincible like. But man, they seem to have absolutely lost their momentum. First 2 seasons, I really enjoyed this. First season was fantastic. Second season was still great. I mean, they kind of did all the multiverse stuff with Angstrom. Then he ended up killing him, and now we're still seeing that he's kind of out there, but they're just kind of like you said. We've seen him spying on, clumsily spying on Mark. Not even like well, and even Cecil was like, yeah, we're watching him. He just doesn't know. So it's been
Right.
I don't know. I'm hoping I hope you're right, Dave. I hope all of this stuff wraps up into a nice little bow at the end, and we're like, wow, they blew me away with how they were able to do this. But I don't see it. I don't see it happening either. I'm
Yeah.
a little disappointed.
Yeah, that's the word I would use for this week's episode, definitely. And it's like, make it make sense. I don't know if you ever watched like when Doctor Who came out again with Christopher Eccleston as Doctor Who, and the seasons following that. They had a bunch of episodes in that that you didn't think, related to each other at all. But then they would get to the finale, and they would all show how they all factored in. That would be kind of cool to do here. I hope they can do it. But I really doubt they can.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe they can. Maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised by the end of it.
Well, I hate that we jumped to the end and just tore it apart.
Well, we talked about the entire episode. I mean, we talked about Oliver escaping and them seeing it, and how he's dealing with bullies and doing a good job and seemingly good. Titan's plan to work with Machine Head to take over the Order. I mean, it was all very cut and paste kind of episode. Fortunately, it wasn't anything we could sit here and just talk. There's nothing to go like, oh man, what's next? Because
Right.
it was seemingly a single episode just thrown into this season without much connecting pieces to really anything else. The only thing that Mr. Lou's alive, so he's going to probably come back and want to take over the Order. But I don't think we're going to see, and maybe we will. Maybe the rest of this season will be Lou coming back to try to take back the Order from Machine Head and seeing a huge gang war that Mark and Adam Eve got to get involved or something. And they're going to save, Omni-Man and Alan the Alien and the Coalition of Planets and all that till season 4. So maybe we will. Maybe we'll get a nice little, wrapped up present to finish his season, but I got a
Well,
feeling
and
we're
we're
not.
also getting, with the writing we're getting as well, we're also learning that death means nothing. You know, last year, I forget the girl's name who shrinks to a fly.
Shrinking Ray.
Shrinking Ray. She died at the midway through the season, and then the next episode they brought her back. And within this episode, you had Mr. What's his face die, and he came back at the end. The guy fell from 800 feet. The bodyguard guy, I don't know his name.
Titan.
Fell from 800 feet, and he had no consequences. He lands on the top of that building, and the next thing you know, he's alive. It's like that's getting kind of old to me. If somebody died, that's got to mean something. It can't be just like, oh, no big deal. It just got him out of a fight.
Yep, Duplicate died, same time Shrinking Ray, and she came back. Oh, that wasn't the real original. I can do
Right.
this, and we don't know how to die. You're right. Titan fell. We thought he was dead, but that was part of the plan. The bodyguard fell. He didn't die. Mr. Liu was shot in the head and supposedly killed. Now he's back alive. You're right. It's getting to the point where it's always, comic books always do the thing where they're never really dead. Jean Grey dies.
They normally
and then
don't
they
bring them back that quick either.
Yeah.
There's a time period. Well, I mean, a special character I can see, but not all characters. These are within an episode type of thing. That's too quick. If you're gonna bring someone back, bring them back in season 6 or something, and say, "Here's the miraculous story."
Yeah.
But not every character, and not within the episode.
You're right. It kind of underplays everything. So,
Yeah.
well, should we rate this episode?
22 minutes in, rating the
Yeah.
Yep. But I can do it because I can talk Harley Quinn for a few minutes.
Oh yeah.
So obviously we didn't like it. Obviously, I think I disliked it a little bit more than Keith. Yeah, like I said, it seems like a filler episode, and it's been a filler episode and a half. I do like Machine Head. I think he's hilarious. And maybe that, this was world building in their world, but it was just like Keith said, everything fell into place. It was kind of predictable. I'm not enamored with this episode at all. I'm not even going to give it a 5. I'm going to give it a 4 this week, and I think that's the lowest I've ever rated the show. But it was really the worst episode I've seen for Invincible.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, this was the weakest episode of Invincible that we got. Everything was just very cookie cutter, fell into place. There was no surprises. And maybe they're lulling us into a sleep for this, huge finale that's going to blow us away. But man, this episode was, you weren't joking. I turned it on and I was like, I'm going to get some coffee, because normally I'm, glued to the set like, oh, this is great. This is great. Just didn't have it. They had some great characters on it. I like, I think the Order and that crime syndicate could be something good, a story to tell, but like, so much happened. They could have easily waited to tell this story over 2 or 3 episodes and mingle some other stuff in. What's going on with the Guardians, what's going on with the team. Have the Order and Titan and Mr. Liu and all these things falling into place and flesh it out a little bit more. But instead, we got the Dark Phoenix saga in the X-Men cinematic universe. They just bang it out as quickly as they can, and it really, the episode really suffered for it. And I'm probably going to give this a 4.8. I can't give it average, because I think it's not an average episode. It's, a little bit under. It wasn't terrible. I mean, I wasn't like cringing at anything. The things they did made sense. They were just easily figured out. And that show has always done a better job of tricking you into thinking you know what's going on and then throwing a curveball. And maybe that was their thing. Oh, they're used to curveballs. Now we're just going to have a straight episode, and everyone, I don't know, it just didn't work. I hope next week's episode, I hope this week's episode is much better than what we got. We got 3 episodes left of season 3, and honestly, as much as we hated the break last season between it, if that would help with quality, then I'm all for it. They can take 8 months off between episodes or something, but I hope this season can get saved because, unfortunately, this was the weakest episode, and so far season 3 has been the weakest season.
Yeah, and it's too bad because I read somewhere they had enough material to go on for 8 seasons, and if it goes like that, there's no way they're gonna make 8 seasons.
Yeah, sometimes I remember with Lost how the show started off great, then it started lacking real direction because like the writers were like, we don't know when this is going to end, so we just got to keep throwing stuff out there. So we got stuff to keep hinting at. And then all of a sudden they were like, yeah, this is going to end after season 5 or whatever. And then the writing got good again. And maybe, they need to figure out. I don't think I would hope Amazon would say, hey, you need 8 seasons, we'll give you 8 seasons. You got, and then they could map it all out and we could get a little better thing. But I think they are going season to season where it's like, are we going to get renewed? I hope we get renewed. And
Oh yeah,
maybe this kind of writing, these kind of episodes are not going to help this get renewed if this is how they're going. And it's sad because I really love the show.
yeah. It definitely busted out of the gate, but we don't know if it's got the stamina.
Yeah. It definitely took the lead early on in the run, but it's getting caught from behind right now.
Yeah, now it's limping back to the barn. Well, I'd love to hear Doug's thoughts on this. I wonder if he'll be able to join us before we switch topics.
Oh,
We got some cheap viewers.
I was going to say, spare army. Cheap viewers on streamboo.com. Remove the
We don't want
space.
cheap viewers.
Yeah,
We want
we-
normal viewers.
We like sophisticated, well-educated viewers. We don't want these cheap viewers. Thank you, spare army.
Spare us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But please follow and subscribe. We would love it.
I think it's a bot. I don't think it's a person.
I know, it is. Well, should we talk a little Harley Quinn? Because while I didn't enjoy this week's episode of Invincible, I really enjoyed this week's episode of Harley Quinn. And I wanted to know...
Oh, go ahead.
I wanted to know what you thought of it because it had musical elements to it. And to me, the funniest part of this whole thing was Clayface singing the Brainiac song to Hamilton, like a Hamilton variant. I was cracking up. I'm like, oh my god, the writers on this show are just great at building ludicrous storylines and just making them hilarious. The fact that nobody knows that Clayface is imitating Perry White just cracks me up.
And it's just like, not only do they tell a funny story, they still respect the characters. They don't act out of character. They're just funny,
Yep.
And Perry White, handcuffed to the heater, still talking to him. Hey, maybe I can help you guys out. That cracks me up.
And I love that everyone, when they refer to the Daily Planet, all they talk about is Clayface's one-man plays. And like, no one's...
What an amazing performance.
I want a Pulitzer. Yeah, we know!
Yeah, everybody knows. She finds out that, like, Harley Quinn killed Nightwing, and she still has a conversation with her afterwards.
Yeah.
While she's trying to get her right. It's comedy. It's hijinks. I love it.
Oh, we killed what's his name? Oh my God, admitted murderer. You retract this, or I'll tell him you're really Clayface. You owe her an apology. Alan Tudyk's Clayface is just absolute perfection.
Absolute. Still counts.
And I like when Harley's like, I knew it was you with the way you enunciate Pulitzer.
I'm telling you, she should be live action Harley Quinn. She'd be good.
Yeah, I mean,
Sierra just got home.
oh, welcome home, Sierra. Hope you had a pleasant, peaceful day. She doesn't work on Sundays, does she?
No, no,
Okay,
no. She's just been out with her friends all weekend.
cuckoo.
But yeah, I know you guys like Margot Robbie, but I think Kaylee Cuoco it would be a better live action uh, Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I mean, I like Margot Robbie. She's good at it, but I mean, I wasn't sure about Kelly Kuklo doing this in the animated thing. I was really hesitant when this came out, but she's fantastic. I mean, if she had a shot, I certainly wouldn't be opposed to it. I think she could do a good job, especially with how well she's handling this animated series.
I know those lines just sound natural, like that's naturally what she's thinking. You know, I guess that's a good voice actor. You know, and Lake Bell's great as Poison Ivy. I don't think there's anyone on that show that doesn't fit what they're doing. So the casting on that was a pretty damn good.
Yep, Alan Tudyk is Clayface. The guy who does Bane, I can't remember his name. Ron Funches doing King Shark, who we haven't gotten enough of this season. I'm glad they were able to bring back at least Clayface a lot more. And now Bane's, he hired Bane to be his.
He's right. He looks like a writer. He's got a pencil here. He's typing. That's good stuff. I mean, it's good stuff. And it's not worth saying, hey, what's going to happen next? Because well, they did end the show on kind of a downer. I forgot what the plant's name was at this moment.
Yeah, Frank.
Brainiac kills him. Do you think that Frank will stay dead?
No.
No.
Or there'll be a Frank 2 that comes up that, he impregnated the flower he was
Right.
eyeing during the play.
It's just been such a good. This season has just been good too. They went to Metropolis. If you're not watching Harley Quinn, you really should. It's good stuff. It's probably the best animated DC we got right now.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, right now, I can't think of any other animated. Do we have any other? Oh, Creature Commandos was good. I really enjoyed Creature Commandos.
That was really good.
But you're right. Right now, this is top quality. It's just a parody. It's just funny. They satire superhero stuff, and they just do a great job. They keep the characters, within reason, and just everything is funny about it. I can't think of an episode where I haven't laughed or enjoyed it. And we've talked about it 100 times, but the pilot episode, none of us were enjoying, and then all of a sudden the show just took off and has just been great. They don't overdo any jokes. They don't, this isn't Family Guy where we get the same jokes a lot. Which Family Guy's still funny. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
they managed to move the story along and move the jokes along, and it's just very well done. I hope we get 10 more seasons of it, as long as they're funny.
Yeah, it's just like the average regular conversations that they have during normal like superhero moments or supervillain moments, and then they have a regular conversation in the middle of it, and it cracks you up.
Yep.
I don't want to just review the show and tell you everything that happened, because I want people to go watch it so that we can talk about it more.
Yeah, anyone who's not watching it should definitely watch it. We talked Tundra Walker into watching it, and now he loves it. So it's like anyone who's watched it has been enjoying it. So if you're out there, you're listening, you haven't watched it, just go watch it. Seriously. It's fantastic. You will thank us. If you like comic books, you'll enjoy it.
And if you like comic books, you found the right channel. You should be watching us. You should be talking to us on our chats, leaving comments on our videos on YouTube. We would love to talk to you and relate with you. More geeks, what more geeks? More nerds, the better.
Yes, you never enough nerds. That's what we say.
We don't care if you're in England, because we'll talk to you too. Because we've talked to some people in England. It might be a little bit late over there.
Yeah, it is definitely late.
2 a.m. over there right now.
Yeah, during Death Note, we had a couple guys from the UK who would join us on a regular basis. That was always cool. Hopefully, they'll come back soon. But we do have, I think the one big thing that's coming up is Daredevil, Born Again.
Yeah.
I mean, with
You
how
want to show that? You want to show that um, little 30-second short they put out today? We watch it like we normally do a trailer. I think that would be fun.
well, I'd have to download it. I usually get that done before we go thing, but I mean, we'll
Since
probably talk more about
since
it.
you haven't seen it yet, I would love to see your reaction to it.
I just hope. I know you told me Bullseye's in it. I hope we get some quality Bullseye action. I mean, he was so great in season 3 of Daredevil on Netflix. Man, don't wipe him. Don't kill him early. Don't make the mistake. Marvel's finally getting to the point where they're not killing off their villains at the end of every movie. So they can't come back. So Bullseye's got to be just this reoccurring villain. I would love, and I don't think it's going to happen, but man, if he showed up in Thunderbolts, like after whatever happens in Daredevil Born Again, Val kind of recruits him, maybe at the end of the movie for some, Dark Avengers type team.
Taskmaster?
Or just as like a Hawkeye type replacement sort of thing. So, yeah, I would be all on board. I don't think they're going to go Dark Avengers route. But we don't know what that asterisk means just yet. So we're going to have to see. Because I got a feeling there's going to be a few deaths in Thunderbolts. And if that is the case, they may need to get some more people to join that team. And if they're willing to go a little darker, I think Bullseye would be a great addition. Because he was part of, the Dark Avengers in the comics. He was the Hawkeye of the Dark Avengers. So.
And, the writing on Daredevil season 3 was so excellent. I hope they got some of those writers to write on this Born Again series. I mean, how many characters are we having in this Daredevil season? Starting on March 4th, which is, 10 days? 10 days from now?
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, I forgot what I was saying. No, I hope they have some of those writers, because all these characters they're bringing back. Oh, I'm so excited, and I don't think they will. I know they have an extended, like what I would consider on these streaming shows, kind of an extended season. It's 9 episodes, right? Or is it 12?
No, it's not.
It's not 12. It's probably like.
It ends on April 15th.
Well, I know we get 6 episodes in the first 4 weeks.
Yes, we get 1 and 2 March 4th, episode 3 on March 11th, episode 4 on the 18th, and 5 and 6 on the 25th.
So then that's another 3 weeks after that. So we're looking at maybe 9 episodes.
Yeah, I bet it's 9, and then I'm gonna look it up just to make sure. But I'm pretty sure, because originally, before we found out that 5 and 6 was airing the same day, on March 25th, we were all under the assumption that we were getting the season finale of Born Again the same day as Andor season 2 started. But, yep, first season consists of 9 episodes.
And I'm sure those will be packed with quality stuff. From every preview I've seen, it looks like they handled it right. Even though there was a point, wasn't there a point somewhere in the middle there that they didn't like the script and they started it over?
Yeah, they had a lot of season 1 shot, and they decided to scrap it and redo it. And I guess what I heard, and I don't know if this is true, was that he wasn't Daredevil for almost the entirety of the first season. And they were like, yeah, no, we can't have a season of a lawyer show with Matt Murdock. As much as I enjoy his courtroom scenes. No Daredevil season 1, that would be a nightmare. That would
Like convincing him at the last episode to become Daredevil again. That's too much.
yeah.
Right?
That,
That's too much
at the
waiting.
end of season 1, he's like,
Right.
"I'll put back on the cowl. Come back for season 2. We'll see you
Right.
next season."
For more courtroom dramas. We're gonna call it Daredevil Suits.
And then we would see, but we're at the spot because everybody said, "Oh, the MCU's done with, Brave New World," because it had a drop off in its second weekend.
Week.
So now Daredevil Born Again is when everyone, "Oh, the MCU is back." We go up and down, up and down, up and down. So hopefully that's a good sign for Daredevil Born Again, because I really need this show to be great.
Yeah, we don't need another special investigation. We were all pumped for that show. We need this one to be good, and from everything I've seen, it looks great. I hope we haven't been fooled by trailer tricks like these are the only good scenes in the show, and we're putting them in the preview. I hope that's not happening. But
I can't imagine, because just seeing like Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox together, they just do such a great job. I can't imagine this is going to be bad. I hope we don't get any episodes that where you have trouble staying awake, because there was definitely none of those on the Netflix series, and they said this is even more brutal than the Netflix series, which I can't imagine that, but they
especially from Disney, because I guess when Disney let Deadpool and Wolverine be as gruesome as they wanted to be, and it worked. Maybe Disney said, "All right, maybe we'll let off the reins when they want to, have a little more blood and guts and see where it goes."
Yeah, these are the stories that these characters need to tell. So let's hope. And then
they see their revenue going down when they try and get when they get a little heavy with their hand, with the fingers in the pie, so to speak. Maybe they'll back off now. And maybe this will be a really good show.
It's funny because speaking of Deadpool and Wolverine, I don't know if you saw Rob Liefeld, the co-creator of Deadpool, who we've talked about many times. He created a Deathstroke clone, and Joe Kelly is the one who really made Deadpool what he is. But he's been going on a rant. He's so upset because he said, he didn't. The thank you to him in the credits of Deadpool and Wolverine wasn't big enough, and he was ignored by Kevin Feige at a after party or something. He's just being a big baby about the whole thing. And I do want to say, creators and comic book writers should get more from the studios when they adapt their storylines. But he's like saying, after Brave New World, that Feige should step down. He's lost his mojo and all this stuff, and it's like he's just sour grapes because he doesn't.
He even had a store in the movie.
Yeah.
Liefeld feet.
And the thing is, I'm not a big fan of his art. His writing, I think, is subpar. Every time he writes a comic, I usually am not going to be overly blown away by it. And I don't think, he expects all this stuff. Like, he's always on Twitter talking about, when I took over the New Mutants, it was terrible, and I brought it into prominence with all these new characters. And you were the artist. Fabian the Zen was also, he was writing all this stuff, and he doesn't want to give anybody else credit, but then gets upset when he doesn't get enough credit on, the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. He's a piece of work. But then people have started talking like maybe Feige's going to step down after Secret Wars. Maybe he'll be like, I've been doing this for all this time. I don't think he will. I hope he doesn't, because I think he does a great job.
Yeah, I agree.
And I want him to be in charge of the Mutant Saga post multiversal, because that was his first job in Hollywood, was working on the X-Men, and he was always one to hey, let him read comics and, let's get this right. So let's hope the mutant saga goes much better than the multiversal saga.
They should stop trying to, as far as like saying with like an example, their after credit scenes. Well, I think what the problem is with these, that's just using that as an example. Why it worked in the first three phases is because, all right, at the end of Iron Man 2, all they showed, the only after credit scene was Thor's hammer. And then we're like, oh, cool, Thor's next. Now they're trying to get too cute. They're throwing in 2 or 3 after credit scenes, and they all, have these different things that tied in with the movie you just saw that are going to play into the next movie. You don't have to do all that. You can still have your story be like James Gunn said. Your story is about the movie, and just like Iron Man 2, nothing about Thor in that movie until the after credit scene. They can do that. I think they're overplaying their hand. You know what I mean? They're just like, they're trying to be too clever with it. With a lot of things, not just the after credits.
And I don't know if you saw, but the director of Brave New World said that the leader in the post-credit scene was talking about the Illuminati and not about like Doom or any multiversal threats. So that's interesting. I for sure thought they were referring to Doom and probably some set of heroes from another dimension that are maybe bad. But I was like, okay, you know what? Hey, if they want to start bringing in the Illuminati and kind of having something like that, we saw it in the 838 world with Mr. Fantastic and all those people. Maybe it'll start aligning in the 616. We'll see, but it's still that post-credit scene just was not worth waiting through the credits at this point.
And if they are planting that seed, that's exactly what I mean then, because they're not ready to pursue that storyline. You know what I mean? They'd just be planting that seed for you to go, oh yeah, just kind of like the Venom thing at the end of Spider-Man. How there was the symbiote. They haven't done anything with it since then. That's what I mean. Just, you don't have to get cute. Just whatever's coming next, put a little teaser for it at the end of your movie.
If you know for sure something's coming and you want to kind of tease it, that's fine too. But you're right. If there's no plans for Venom in the MCU, if there's nothing written for it yet, don't tease them.
Yeah. No reason to do that, because then people who analyze more than we do will be analyzing the crap out of it, and then they will be disappointed, and they probably become people like those other channels there's just the downer channels who down every MCU movie that comes out because it didn't live up to what they were expecting.
Yep. And it wasn't like, I think they have, rose-colored goggles on the first 3 phases. I mean, Dark World was not a good movie. Iron Man 2 was okay. It wasn't anything spectacular. I mean, honestly, the Captain America trilogy was the best of anything that came out. We got the Guardians, Volume 1 and 2 were great. But not everything was perfect. Now, this Phase 5 has struggled. They're struggling, much like Invincible. It feels like they're struggling to find a direction and know where it's all going and what it's all up to. But, they keep bringing out new things, and they've had an explosion of characters come out. And it kind of hurts because at least in Phase 1 through 3, you got your characters and they were showing up again rather soon. It's like we've had Shang-Chi. We haven't seen him since.
You haven't seen him until the Barbie movie.
Yeah. And I don't even know if that's canon. But, they've just, so many new characters are coming into play, and we don't know when they're showing up, and if they had a plan for all of this, they've thrown it out because this hasn't been that successful, and that's too bad because they have so many great characters to do, to use. Obviously, we're getting the greatest one with Wonder Man coming up.
Of course.
I was hoping one of the post-credit scene was going to be Captain America recruiting Wonder Man for the Avengers. because then Brave New World would have gotten a 11 out of 10 for me. It would have been
Right.
the greatest movie.
The post-credit scene carried it. I don't care what happened before. I'm giving it an 11.
You know what though? Speaking of Brave New World, and your boy Rob Liefeld, who everything is terrible. He didn't like Brave New World. Bo DeMeo, the fired guy from X-Men '97, he was kind of like, you know what they should have done? Instead of having the leader, a lot of people are like, the leader's a Hulk villain. Why was he in a Captain America movie? And I'm always like, it was fine. But Bo DeMeo was like, they should have brought back the Red Skull.
That would have been fantastic.
And have him wanting to kill Sam Wilson because we can't have a black Captain America.
Oh yeah, he's
like
mega.
Yeah, he's superior race and everything. And I was like,
yeah,
dang. I was like, that's actually a brilliant idea. And have him come in and the Red Skull come back and just be like, my arch rival can't be replaced by an inferior race. And they could have brought Sam's race into it and acknowledged that and did a bunch of things with it while he's fighting the Red Skull. And him defeating the Red Skull at the end would have been a much more defining moment of him as Captain America than having the leader turn himself in. Yeah. Now I'm hoping Captain America 5 is the Red Skull coming back because he wants to take out Sam Wilson.
So they've announced it, but they don't have a script for it. Is that true? Is that
Captain
all true?
America 5?
Yeah.
They haven't even announced it yet, but
Just rumor.
Just a rumor.
Rumor and gossip.
And I think that all depends on how Doomsday and Secret Wars goes and what we're going to get, X-Men wise, building up to the Mutant Saga. I hope we get Captain America 5. And if they bring Ross Marquardt back as the Red Skull, which he did a great job replacing, what's his name?
Why can't I think of his name? Elrond.
Yeah.
Hugo Weaving.
Yes, Hugo Weaving. Yes, thank you. He did great. Bring him back. We'll give him a whole movie to really, show his chops and do his thing. And I think that would. Man, I read that. It's so funny because I was like, so many people are bashing it, and then, Bo, who did such a great job on X-Men '97 season 1, was like, this is what they should have done. And I read it. I was like, oh my god, he's absolutely right.
Why isn't he writing movies now? But. Well, he got fired for that, right? Or did he quit? I can't remember. Oh, Doug should be here soon, folks. Everybody hold your breath. This will be fun. Because I want to hear what he thinks about Invincible. But, now, is he on bad terms? Could he come back and write? That's my question.
I don't think he could. I don't know. But you never know. They still haven't really said what happened, and there's rumors and innuendos and stuff going on, but they've never really said what actually happened. So maybe he could. But they could even, they must have plans for the leader in Red Hulk. And so they were like, let's just put him in a Captain America movie, which probably hurt this movie a little bit. Mm-hmm. They need him for something else. The rumor is that Red Hulk is going to fight the Hulk in Secret Wars or Doomsday. So they needed to get, the Red Hulk introduced, which, this movie was still good. It wasn't bad, by any stretch of the imagination. But when you hear pitches like that, you're like, oh, they made a mistake. They could have done something so much better. And
that's even with what they had they done the trailer differently, it might have done better. Like we were saying last week when they revealed. They gave you the big reveal in the trailer. If they hadn't done that, it might have even gone over better because you'd be like, "Oh, I didn't see that coming." That's the twist, But they didn't really have a twist in this movie.
I feel like their marketing department was so worried that it wasn't going to do well that they gave away the big spoilery end, and they shouldn't have. It would have been so much more appreciated going there, and all of a sudden, because everyone was talking about it as soon as oh, Thunderbolt Ross is going to be, and it's like, is he going to turn into Red Hulk? And if they would have never said a word about it,
Right.
It would have been a much better experience in the theater with him all of a
Yeah.
sudden hulking out. That would have, especially after, you know, when he was on a ship and he kind of held it back. You're thinking, okay, they're not going to bring it out, and then him hulking out at the end would have been fantastic. But, you know, they
Yep, they didn't put Zack Snyder in charge of the trailers, so this is what you got. I would hire Zack Snyder to make all my trailers, never a movie. He knows how to make a trailer. You could get y'all pumped up to see the movie.
Yeah, he does great trailers. Now, do you think his meeting with James Gunn is signaling that he is going to be working for DC Studios in any capacity?
I honestly hope not. I don't think that would be a good thing, and that would just reignite the fire with the Snyder bots too. And I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody. I don't mean to, but it just seems like let it go, man. Let the Snyderverse go. It's not that good.
It's certainly not our cup of tea. And once again, if you love Snyder movies, that's fine. I don't care what you like, but I couldn't imagine that they're going to decide to let him do a bunch of movies in an Elseworlds movie. If he's doing anything, maybe it's a couple episodes of Lanterns or something. Like, and I really don't want him to do that.
I don't even.
You know, go do your.
Nathan Fillion's character being one way, and then for 2 episodes he's completely different. It's a lot more dark and brooding, and then he comes back and he's like, yeah, talking about his bowl haircut. You know what I mean?
Why did Guy Gardner murder 13 people in those 2 episodes? And then I do hope they get Guy Gardner's attitude right, though, in Superman movie. Like, he's a cocky SOB, and I hope that's captured. And I trust James Gunn to do it because he reads the comics and he knows why they made Guy Gardner that way, because, you know, the other Lanterns are a certain way. And I hope that's why he's in Superman, because they needed a cocky, arrogant SOB for Superman to put in his place.
And yet still be a hero. I wonder if by the end of it he'll be a Red Lantern, which would lead into the Lantern series. And then they show, because it's not called the Green Lantern series, it's the Lanterns. So maybe they'll address all the different colors, Sinestro included.
Oh, and hey, we just got fellow nerd Doug subscribed at tier 1, 32 months. Thank you, fellow nerd Doug. Appreciate that. I wonder if he's related to the Doug that our Doug.
I don't know. When he gets on here, let's ask.
Yeah. We'll have to ask. That's nice, but we do appreciate the sub. That's fantastic. You know, one of the theories I had for Lanterns. We know it's going to be a murder investigation. What if Guy Gardner is the one that gets murdered and they're investigating his death? And that's what gives it its more of a Lanterns feel, because I've always struggled with, okay, so some dude just gets murdered and a bunch of Green Lanterns are investigating it. Like, it's got to be...
It's got to be a cosmic murder.
Yeah.
It's got to be out in space.
It's got to be something
think.
that would get Hal and John working together.
I don't think it's going to be a bad guy Sinestro, because then they could never use him again in that kind of situation.
Right.
Well, there's a villain right there that he could. Hey, Doug!
Doug! Look at that. Haircut, clean shaven. Look at that. Look at that. Soon to be a year older Doug.
2.5 hours, Doug.
Turning to dust.
And it'll be your birthday. What? Oh, I don't feel so good. Well, why don't you put up that Invincible thing again so we can get Doug's opinion on it, and you can edit that right to the video.
So just so you know, Doug, Dave gave it a 4. Do you give it a 4.5?
Zero.
Oh yeah, 4.0. I gave it a 4.8.
That's pretty much in the realm that I was in. I wasn't super thrilled by this episode, especially coming off the heels of another episode that was half good. And if you watched our last stream where we were breaking down the last episode of Invincible, we weren't all very happy with it because like it was on a hot streak, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh no, we're gonna split it in half. The first half of the story is going to be boring. The second half is going to be fun, but there's not going to be enough of it. And then they followed up with this, which it kind of felt like a filler episode, but not. I mean, some things did happen, sure, but like it was hard to care. That's the best way that I can describe it. It was hard to care what was going on.
Well, and as I thought the whole episode was so predictable. Like, this show has always done a good job of keeping me off balance. This episode, I was just like, okay, that's exactly what I thought would happen. That's weird. Okay, that's... And they, like, wrapped up the exchange of power from Machine Head, or to Machine Head, in the order I thought,
And like,
quick.
yeah, we figured that was what was going to happen. Of course, he went to go visit Machine Head. It's like, yeah, we obviously they're plotting something. I mean, oh, surprise, surprise!
Take him up
Really
800
got me
feet.
there.
Take him up 800 feet and drop him.
It's like, you had a whole ass dragon and you wasted it. It's such a boring story. Like,
Yeah, how do you get a mythical dragon fighting like that and make
Right?
it so... I want to check
I
my phone.
think-
I want to see, the latest fan art of Wonder Man.
I think the old Jackie Chan cartoon that was on in the mid '90s with like way shittier animation. I think they did better dragon stories than this, and it was for kids.
This one might as well have been for kids.
I think Dave has to do the.
Boom.
He seems more qualified.
yeah.
It just. Oh.
But yeah, this was a one of those where I would get distracted, picking up my phone, thinking about other things, and look, oh, that's right, I'm watching an episode. Yeah, and I didn't even finish it in the first sitting. I had turned it on, got distracted, forgot I was watching it, walked back into the room, and it was like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about Invincible. I ended up turning it on later on when I was working on the thumbnail for our stream tonight, and finally finished watching. I'm like, oh well, that was dull.
That's a good way to describe it. I didn't want to call it boring, but dull, I think, is a good way to describe it. It really wasn't exciting. It wasn't anything great. Are they lulling us into a false sense of security and it's about to get nuts? God, I hope so.
Gotta be. Where are these other Viltrumites that were threatening to come? Like, what's...
And that's what I told Dave. I'm like, are they trying to find crap to fill up episodes because they're waiting for that mustache guy that Anissa was teasing last season to show up like in episode 7? And we'll just have him in one episode and go nuts, and we'll just add some
Heath,
crap.
I believe you are thinking of Freddie Mercury?
Yes.
King of Vil-
Freddie Mercury, Viltrumite,
Yeah.
yes.
And you will not convince me otherwise.
It would have been a great episode had they been like Alan the Alien and Omni Man
Mm-hmm.
encounter another Viltrumite on their way back to Earth. Something like that would have been better than this.
Is it pretty bad that the show named Invincible is boring when its main character is at front and center? Like, yeah, you're right, Dave. It probably would have been a better episode if it was dealing with anyone other than Invincible right now.
Yeah, I mean,
I hadn't thought of that.
like I said to Keith earlier, it's like Ant-Man said in the movie. Those are the wrong details. The wrong details.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're showing us right now.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, I won't say that he hasn't completed his hero arc or anything. Like, there's still more that needs to be done. He obviously still needs to get even stronger to be able to take on an army of Viltrumites. So he still needs to get stronger. He still needs to train. He still needs to work out his differences with Cecil and everybody else. And like he's there's so much more that he could be doing, but it's like we have to do a sideline so he can, play catch up with Titan. So I guess that story wasn't quite done yet, and it's like, there's other things that you should be focusing on, and like because he can be interesting in one of these stories, like an episode with him, obviously dealing with the weight of everything going on around him would have made another good episode. If if you're not going to give us Alan and Omni Man, then at least show us that Mark is somewhat concerned with the threat looming over him. Also, were we not going to bring up that camera again that was spying on? I think he might have mentioned it offhandedly, but then like we didn't mention it for the rest of the episode. It's like,
yep,
yeah.
It was a detour. This episode was a detour. We're at the rest stop. We're gonna get some Hardee's, and then finally, maybe next week we'll get back on the freeway and have some good episodes again.
Let's hope. And like I told Dave, I mean, this was almost the Dark Phoenix episode. They could have mingled in some Omni-Man and Alan the Alien stuff, getting to Coalition of Planets, running into a Viltrumite. And instead of having this, hostile takeover of the Order happen in one episode and quickly, have it play out. Add a little more substance to it all. Don't make it so predictable. Mm-hmm. And you can, have other, storylines coming in. Maybe, we see Freddie Mercury deciding he's heading, he hears about the prison being destroyed, and he's going out to get, whoever did it, and he's heading to Earth because he thinks anything would have added a little intrigue to this episode. I think calling it a detour episode is spot on.
What we were saying earlier, Doug, was that death doesn't seem to be permanent on this show.
Yeah, I'm noticing that too. I was just about to say that when you brought up the fact that it's kind of like Dark Phoenix, I would almost say no, because like we're not worried about anybody dying. At least with Dark Phoenix, like there was a concern that some of these characters were going to die. Like we lost Mystique, we lost Quicksilver. I think he died. I'm not mistaken.
That don't matter. They're never going to recall it.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, yeah, obviously, but we didn't have to worry about that with this episode. I don't think we really like we almost lost. In the previous season, we almost lost Shrinking Ray and Duplicate. But then that was like, oh, well, actually, they were able to somehow fix Shrinking Ray with magic. I don't know. And Duplicate, oh, she hid away somebody in the cat. Surprise! It's all fixed. It's all better.
And your favorite
character,
Multi-Paul. You in this episode, you imprisoned the wrong one. I escaped. Haha. I'm like, okay, this is getting kind of...
We knew that was gonna...
yeah. Nobody was fooled by any of that at all.
You're about as on the nose as Special Investigation was.
Unfortunately, you're right. I hate to say it. That is
a better comparison.
Yeah.
It's the Special Investigation of Invincible. Oh,
and without a question, it is the weakest episode that we've gotten from the Invincible show in the 3 seasons it's been out.
Unfortunately. So, yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm going to have to give it a 4.5. Wasn't thrilled.
We're back to normal. I'm the highest, Doug's in the middle, and Dave's the lowest.
That's right.
Now, the real question we have to ask you, Douglas, are you all caught up on Harley Quinn?
I think I am.
Did you see the Clayface Brainiac musical?
Where they're doing the play about
God.
Brainiac. Yes, and he finally realized that the monkey is dead.
Yeah.
That was great. And I love that Lena's like, no, there's no way they're gonna oh my God, it's working.
But then he killed
Frank.
Right? There's a Frank.
Yeah.
It's not right. That was the moment of that was the moment of silence at the end. It wasn't funny. It was just like, oh.
I learned something interesting. Did you know Frank is canon to Poison Ivy's earlier incarnations?
I did not know
No.
that.
Not the way that he speaks specifically, but the fact that she's got a living plant that eats people as her pet and treats it like so goes all the way back to like her earlier incarnations before she had like magic powers, when she was just like, really liked plants.
Oh God, I love that. I love that the show does that. you know?
Yes, I love it too. It's great. That's why when I had to like look up this thing with Brainiac, I'm like, I didn't know that was his original, and like they got it almost spot on. Clearly, the people who are making that show, they love the comics and they love these stories. This
Yep.
is like some James Gunn level deep cuts.
Yeah,
And
they
no matter how many characters they bring in, they're all true. They're always true to the character, and it doesn't seem out of place.
Oh yeah,
and hilarious.
it is. Yes.
I laugh every time, like when someone's like, all the Daily Planet does is talk about Clayface's one-man show, and like,
What? No, they don't only do that.
it's like so great. They just, you'll see like a Daily Planet sitting in the background. It's like, oh, miracle one-man show or something, and like no one's figured out. It's great that Harley's like, I knew by the way, you enunciated that word, it was you. Shh, I'm gonna spill the beans unless you do it. Okay. And he hires Bane.
And I love the fact that Bane is like discovering this new part of himself, and it turns out, oh, I like to type. Writing all these stories. He's, back in it. He's putting together all these articles for the paper. He's writing an entire play.
Perry White did offer to help. The real Perry White.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. He was handcuffed to the other radiator or whatever. Oh man.
And I love JB Smooth as Frank. I hope he's not dead, because he cracks me up.
Mm-hmm.
He was so great on Curb Your Enthusiasm, and he's great on this. Whoever did the casting, the voice for the voices on this, pretty much nailed everyone. Such a great job.
Is that
I agree.
He'd said they pretty much nailed everyone. Is that Weinstein's? Hey,
Oh yeah.
Bad Dave.
This is a family show, Dave.
Oh, sorry. I don't know who this Weinstein is you speak of.
Oh, and Doug, the other thing that we were talking about,
Mm-hmm.
Rob Liefeld was bashing the MCU. Well, he was upset.
Okay.
He's left Marvel Comics. He won't work for Marvel anymore because his shout out during the Deadpool and Wolverine credits wasn't big enough. And he said he was ignored by Kevin Feige at the premiere or something.
Wow.
Yeah, he's being a huge wanker. But on the opposite side, Bo DeMayo, who you might remember,
Mm-hmm.
season 1,
Creator of X-Men 97.
yeah, he didn't really bash Captain America: Brave New World. He said the movie they should have made is the Red Skull coming back and so angry that his arch nemesis is now from an inferior race, that he's trying to kill Sam Wilson.
There is no one at Marvel that is brave enough to do
I
that
know,
story.
but tell
That
me
be
that
amazing,
would have
but
been
no one would do that.
Captain America stopping the Red Skull at the end of that movie would have been
Mhm.
cementing him as Captain America more than what we got in this movie. And while I did
And
not,
also, just having him beat up an ancient Nazi, chef's kiss, would have been great.
yeah, I'm sure Ross Markwar would have been more than happy to come, and that would have been a much better movie than what we got, seemingly. And it sucks because
I was actually just talking to my cousin about it tonight, and we both agreed that it wasn't terrible. It's just
No.
we expected better, I guess, or we were hoping that it would be better. And and it also felt short, like there was some story missing. And another point that I've been hearing a lot of people bring up is that everything that they did would have worked better as a Hulk sequel.
Yeah, those were Hulk villains.
That was a Hulk problem. Hulk's former girlfriend, Hulk's former primary enemy, Thunderbolt Ross, who wants him dead. And it was like Sam just kind of like stumbles into this mess.
Yeah. It would have been
And I
better
think the
to
only
have
connective tissue he really had was, what's his name? The former first Captain America.
Steve Rogers.
Bucky.
Oh, Isaiah Bradley.
Isaiah Bradley, thank you. That was pretty much his only stake in the game. If he hadn't gone to the White House, if he hadn't been hypnotized and everything, I don't know that Sam would have really gotten that involved in all of this, because he pretty much was originally just attempting to clear his name. And then the fact that he, figured out the leader's plot and fought Red Hulk and everything, that was all incidental. That
Well, we were saying too, if they even had just the same movie, but in the trailer they never let you know that the Red Hulk was coming.
I don't think they were meant to. I don't think the writers and directors wanted that to happen.
Nope, it was all the marketing department.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dave. I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be the big mystery, the big secret at the end. We were all supposed to be like, oh, he's a Hulk.
They finally did it. And like we talked about on the stream, instead of just having the adamantium that was stolen from the Serpent Society at the beginning, have the leader trying to build, a Hulk with adamantium or something, Weapon H from the comics too. Him just wanting to embarrass Ross.
People won't care.
Yeah.
They might actually like it. Get weird with it. I watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3 last night. Hadn't seen it in a while. I was talking with my sister about it, and I'm like, you know what? I feel like watching it again. That movie gets friggin' weird. And it's a great movie.
Yep. People are okay with it. You do a good...
Yeah.
You get weird, but make it great. No
Look
one's gonna
at how... Look at what?
Open the effing door.
Right. Well, look at Daredevil and Wolverine. Do you remember how loud the audience got when they showed Wolverine in his costume? Deadpool and Wolverine, thank you.
I'm looking forward to seeing Daredevil and Wolverine together, but
that'd be great too. But yeah, when Wolverine showed up in his comic accurate costume, everybody was just like, "Yeah, oh my God, this is what we've been waiting for." They want this stuff. They want the comic book weirdness. Lean in on it.
Yep.
Yeah, like you said in the movie. Well, this only took 25 years, but
yeah, you gave us 5 minutes of Red Hulk. Thanks, I guess.
Well, and I'm sure the reason they had Red Hulk in this movie is because he's going to play some role in Doomsday or Secret Wars, and they had to get him out. And they're like, well, we don't have plans for a Hulk. Let's just throw him in the Captain America movie. When, man, using Red Skull would have been such a better
It really would have been
choice.
a better idea. Yeah.
like, why are you protecting the Soul Stone? None of that.
The Soul Stone is destroyed. Now I'm back to destroy Sam Wilson.
Yeah. The Soul Stone blew up, and suddenly I was back on Earth.
And especially
here I am.
Isaiah Bradley being mind controlled by the Red Scroll when he fought Nazi. You weren't supposed to hear that, Red Skull. Would have been a much better, thing too. It would have much more emotional to Isaiah that he was controlled by a Nazi and almost did, a Nazi's bidding or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Man, should have been the movie we got. That would have been fantastic.
Back to the editing room.
Let's do it. We'll have to give Bo DeMeo, some credit since it was his idea. Because he started out like, the way they should have made Brave New World. And I was like, oh God, is this like a Liefeld whining about stuff? But I was reading it, I was like, okay, this guy's making great points.
No, Bo DeMeo is actually creative.
Yes, he is.
Maybe we can get him as a guest on our show, and we'll do it back to the editing room.
That would be fantastic.
So freaking cool. Oh my God. Just for a dude who was let go by the company that is like showing his baby, essentially, X-Men 97. And yet he's still like, he's so in love with the story arcs and the characters that he was tweeting every time an episode would drop. He would talk about this is what went into it. This is, overall the story we wanted to tell. This is why we showed this character. This is going to lead up to something. Like, that man gives a shit.
He does. It's
Yeah,
nice.
that's what I was asking earlier. I was like, did they burn a bridge there, or can he come back and write? That's what I was asking Keith.
Don't know.
Yeah. Sometimes I think, too, I know Whedon has been blacklisted in Hollywood, but, have him write under a pseudonym. turn in some scripts to see, what he could produce, because his movies
Wait, what did he do?
He just...
I think he got Me Too, right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
But he wasn't... He was just yelling at actors, and he was just mentally abusive a bit on the set of Buffy, and and then the Ray Fisher thing. According to Ray Fisher.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Okay.
So it wasn't Me Too like he was, Bill Cosbying anybody. It was just
Oh my God. You didn't go to any Diddy parties?
No, not that we know of. Maybe
that we
who
know
knows?
of.
Yeah. But I mean, his.
So wait. No, go ahead and finish the Josh Whedon thought.
I was just gonna say, his story is always leaned into the comics, like we were talking, and that's really what the MCU needs right now.
Now, I don't know if we said this last week, but I had a question about it, or if it came up this week, that they're going to finish up the Kang storyline.
That is what they've talked about.
What do you think they would do with that? Kang being so big and Jonathan Majors, not being so big.
I honestly thought that they had wrapped up the Kang storyline with. I mean, I know it was a throwaway line, but to me, it felt like they wrapped it up at the end of Loki. When they came in and said, well, there was a sighting on, Earth, blah, 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 but it seems he was taken care of. And then, okay, on to other things. And I was like, okay, that's good enough for me,
I think
it seemed like it was going to go in a dumb direction anyway, so.
I wonder if they're going to have, like, Doom take out Kang. Like, he tries to come back, or another variant shows up, and Doom's just like, oh, you're not worth the time, or something along those lines. And now I've been reading, too, that it's not Jonathan Majors. They want to recast Kang to finish out the storyline.
Yeah, that tracks. I can see that. If they do still want to tell. Because, yeah, there's still plenty of stories that they could tell with Kang, so it would make more sense to simply recast him.
Yeah.
They could bring back Kang at any time. He's that kind of villain. Because he's a time traveler. He could go they could get into phase 8 or 9, and he could appear in there.
Yep.
Oh, you know what? I just thought of something. Since they're bringing back Robert Downey Jr. to play Doom, bring back Terrence Howard to play Kang.
I like it.
Have you seen Terrence Howard lately? Like the interviews he does? I don't know if they bring him back. He's got some extreme ideas.
Oh, perfect. He's already a villain then. No, I haven't heard I don't even know what he's been in lately.
All I know he was in.
I saw him was at Empire.
I was gonna say that's the last thing I saw that he was in was that Empire show.
I forgot about that show. I think I watched like a couple episodes from the first season, and I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, I like that his wife on that show was it what's her name? Taraji P. Henson.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know how to enunciate.
I don't know names.
I'm terrible.
Hey, I'm sure she was on Point of Interest, or that one with Jim Caviezel. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Person of Interest.
Yeah. Person of Interest. She was in Smoking Aces. I've liked her career. She's a good actress.
Yeah. Maybe she'll be Kang.
Sure.
We could be
At this
very
point, why not?
entertaining. We could all be a very entertaining.
We are. We're all gay. Well,
Wait, what's Jared Leto been up to lately?
stop. Don't even go there, Douglas.
What about Christopher Eccleston? What's he been doing?
When I was over at my family's house tonight for the whole birthday thing, I saw a book that my uncle had been reading, and it was called Norse mythology, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds interesting." Picked it up, written by Neil Gaiman, and I was like, "Oh, whoops, nope."
Yikes.
Yep. Can't imagine what his thoughts on Norse mythology are. They're not great.
Well, didn't
Entirely accurate.
Zack Snyder have a Norse mythology animated series come out to Netflix?
Did he?
I think he did.
Oh.
It's weird. I
Was it
didn't.
Fall under my radar.
Was it called Thor and the Other Gods?
Are you saying you want to review it, Keith?
No, don't stop. Stop it, Doug. I know it's your birthday tomorrow, but we will.
Come on, you don't want a little bit of Zachary Snyder in your life?
I do not.
Produced by Zack Snyder, directed by Michael Bay.
Oh, God.
Be like, oh yeah, there's a lot of the whole movie is one big explosion.
Written by Tommy Wiseau.
Now that I would see. That would review. You know, we even the whole James Gunn and Zack Snyder meeting and the picture that Gunn, you know, is he going to do something for DC Studios? Will it be a couple episodes of Lantern? Is he doing an Elseworlds movie? I hope not.
I don't. There was another thing that was posted, and it looked as though James Gunn had threaded it or blue skied it or something. I don't remember where it was from, but all it said was had a really good chat with my friend Zack Snyder. We were discussing some upcoming things, and I assured him that we did have in the works something along the lines of like, I guess Zach had asked him if they planned on doing a Batman Superman team up, and James Gunn said yes. So it sounds like it was just like they met up for lunch.
Good. That's, you know, and that's something the Snyder bots don't understand. They work together on a movie, Dawn of the Dead or whatever. They're friends. They just
Yeah, of course.
Well, it is getting late, and I know you have huge birthday celebrations to get into tomorrow. Dave seems to be talking to someone off screen.
Oh, check this out. Look what my sister got me for my birthday.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Hardcover, very nice.
That is
Yeah,
very
it's got
cool.
set photos and everything. Here's good old buddy George.
So what you gotta say must a lot in your speech. Mustn't you go? I must leave. There's a lot of musts.
This is like right up my alley of, you know, nerdy crap in Star Wars. I was telling you guys before that one of my favorite books that I had as a kid was, it was like one of those encyclopedias for kids, but it was like all the Star Wars tech. And so it was like they'd have one page that was breaking down all the pieces of a lightsaber. This is the crystal that ignites a lightsaber. And then here's all the parts of a droid and everything. And, you know, it's like as if that encyclopedia existed in that world, in that universe. And it was my favorite thing. I flipped through that thing so many times. I love all the dumb little details that like no normal moviegoer would think of.
Well, I don't know if I ever told you guys this, but in college, a roommate of mine and me posted like every page from a Star Wars technical journal on our wall. So we had like a Star Wars wall with technical journal stuff. We would just go over and like be looking at it. And what are you reading about? The Millennium Falcon. Did you know that?
You did tell us that before, but that's a good story. I
That
I
is.
still enjoy it. Yeah, my brother used to buy it like for Star Trek. He used to buy all the books with all the details on all the ships, and they really the way you read it, it really sounds like they could really do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Hmm.
Enjoyable read.
it is good stuff.
And if you're a nerd, you'll believe the same thing I do, and that's a good read.
Oh,
Well, cool. Should we find somebody to raid, gentlemen?
I think so.
Sorry you missed most of the birthday extravaganza, Doug.
That's all right.
We'll have another one on Thursday.
Good idea. Closer to Dave's birthday.
Yeah, we'll sandwich it. We're doing one broadcast the day before yours and one the day after mine.
Yep.
It fits. It's like a big Oreo.
See, Bubbles on.
All right. So, what are we thinking, Mr. Keith? Anyone standing out?
Bubbles
Oh,
on
no,
there.
All right.
1.2 thousand people watching her.
Yeah, she's not messing around.
I guess not.
See if there's anybody.
I'm good with that if you guys are.
Yeah. There doesn't seem to be anybody else really on. Now we did get a. I don't know if you saw this, but we did get a. We got a fellow nerd Doug subscribed at tier 1 for 32 months. So we
Really?
gave a shout out to fellow nerd Doug. Great person.
Very good. Very good.
We wondered if you knew who he was because you guys share.
I
names.
don't. It doesn't sound familiar now.
We didn't know if all Dougs know each other or not, so we.
Well, we will. We do have a meet and greet convention. Supposed to be coming up in the next couple of months. So, if I meet a few of the other Dougs, I'll let you know.
Excellent. But we're going to raid Bubble. For those of you on YouTube, this is something we do on Twitch where we send our viewers to another content creator because we enjoy them. It's a way to share the fun. There is a way to do it on YouTube, but we have to know who's live when we're ending, and it's not as simple as just typing
More
in
of a
someone's
pain.
name at the end. Yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt. But don't forget, you've been with us. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, do all the things on YouTube. That helps small channels out like us. And if you're on Twitch, don't forget to follow us, to tune in. Like Dave's giving the big thumbs up, tune in. Thursdays and Sundays usually. That is always subject to change. We got Daredevil coming up. We got the, Invincible season coming up. We got Thunderbolts. We got so much stuff coming up. It's exciting. We do anime when we're a little slow on Star Wars, Marvel, and DC stuff. So we always got something fun. So thanks for coming out. And we'll see you guys Thursday night.
Hey, fellow nerds. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.